Hello, guys. It's Lewis here with my boy Joseph, welcoming y'all to the first episode of the SaucyTakez Fantasy Football Podcast. What's up?
Was good.
Not much, man. Very excited, honestly.
We're
I was
less
on
than
the
a
bucket
week
list for a
away.
while. Yep. Thursday night. Let's get it going. Go ahead and introduce yourself to the people, to those that don't know you.
My name is Joseph, but I also go by Swift. I mainly play first-person shooters like Apex and Valorant, but I've been playing fantasy football for 8 years, and I've been blessed with 8 championships out of 24 teams I managed.
Amen. That man right there, he's the truth. Uh, I'll introduce myself, man. My name's Lewis. I'm perennial runner-up in all my leagues. Just about. I've been playing fantasy football for about 9 years now. So if you want first place takes, you listen to him. If coming in second place is more your avenue, more your speed, I'm your guy, bro.
Appreciate it, appreciate it.
No problem. So going on to it here, how about you tell them the whole reason behind the podcast in general and a little bit about the fantasy league one.
Yeah, so last year we tried doing interviews, post-week interviews, which was actually a really good and fun idea and creative as well. And, we're probably gonna do, something similar, just not to the extent that we did, but I thought this would be a fun and interactive way to make the league more,
Just
entertaining.
entertaining.
Yeah, and, I think it'll be good.
Yeah, especially sprinkling some interviews here and there. It should be. We should. There's gonna be a lot of trash talking, but it's gonna be. I think it's gonna be hilarious, man. It's gonna be great, honestly.
Yep.
So the name of the league that we're in is it's called Eye for Quality. You can go ahead and explain that, man. That's a good
Yeah.
one.
So, we've been looking for a name for a couple years now, but, I for Quality is our new official name for our home league. The name pays homage to the character Loba from Apex, who has the ability to see things of high value, which is something all the managers in our league strive to do.
Drive is the correct word.
Yeah. And, this is a super flex, 3 wide receiver, full PPR, tight end premium league with defenses and no kickers.
Yeah, because Justin Tucker's the only one that matters. I know y'all see the Ravens jersey in the back, man. Absolutely. So that's basically the breakdown of the league. I mean, I've been in this league now for this is my third season going into this league. Um, I've been known to have the injury bug bite me several times already. So hopefully this year is a little bit better. But let's start off here. Start off the podcast with some news and notes around the league. The first tidbit of information I'm gonna give you here is tight end OJ Howard. Yes, former first round pick, formerly on the Bills, got cut, and receiver Tyler Johnson, who was on the Bucks and got claimed by both of them, are now on the Houston Texans. Some quick thoughts. What do you think that does for the Texans offense in general, and what does it mean for like the prior team that they were on? I guess.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not excited about Texans players. The only one is probably Brandon Cooks. I don't believe in Davis Mills. I'm not touching OJ Howard or Tyler Johnson. I don't think it does a lot for Dawson Knox in Buffalo, but that team is Gabe Davis, Stephon Diggs. They're gonna be the main guys, and Josh Allen.
Yeah, Josh Allen, man.
He's gonna be the number
That-
one QB without a doubt. As for Tyler Johnson, he was irrelevant, and I don't know if he will
yeah.
be relevant.
So actually, I'll give you some fun facts here about Tyler Johnson. You know, he's a fifth round receiver out of Minnesota. Played with my favorite receiver last year in the draft, Rashad Bateman, who I'm high on. You sniped him from me. That's besides the point. But they played together, and Tyler Johnson was actually the better receiver, and he led the team in catches and yards. And Bateman, like him and Bateman, were like 1A, as Matt LaFleur likes to say with Dylan and Aaron Jones. Very talented player. I actually think it adds a little bit of value to him because he's more of a slot guy, and you know they have Cooks out there running outside with Nico Collins, who's like a nice big threat. It's like the red zone. Really, I don't think OJ Howard affects their tight end room at all. I mean, to be honest, Brevin Jordan's all right, but it's not somebody I'm targeting unless I'm in like a 32 team league or some shit like that. But I think that tells me a little bit about the Buccaneers, man. I personally, obviously, Mike Evans is still there, but Chris Godwin, who is coming back, he's injured. I think that tells you that they're confident in his return, personally. So they were able to cut a receiver like him. They brought in Julio, brought in Russell Gage. So really no reason, in my opinion, for them to cut Tyler Johnson, who's just a third-year player who showed a little bit of flashes last year, nothing crazy, but I think Chris Godwin's stock is definitely up after a release like that from a young guy.
Yeah, I have a hot take on the Buccaneers that they will fall
Oh,
apart this season, and that's why I will not touch any Buccaneers in any draft, no matter what, no matter how far they fall. I don't care if Godwin's available in the 12th round, I still will not take him.
uh, the Max Kellerman approach. Tom Brady's gonna fall off a cliff. The man is 56 years old, has his Medicare, and he's going out there and putting up points, man. Look, man, Uncle Tom's the truth, man. He's shown it year after year. On to the next piece of information here that we have is Miles Sanders returned to practice. Not a big name, um, but he had missed some time with the hamstring injury, and they also claimed the guy who burned me last year, Trey Sermon, who got released by the 49ers after being a third round pick just last year. So they claimed him and Miles Sanders. So how do you feel in general about that Philadelphia running back room specifically?
Not touching it at all. I
They're
think
all
I think Jalen Hurts hurts the running back value. I think he'll be either throwing or rushing it in himself. Miles Sanders has not proven himself at all in the what is it? How many years is he in the league? 2?
I think this is his fourth or his third season. I think it's his
See,
fourth season.
see, I say 2. That just shows you how irrelevant he is. Like he really
Yeah,
hasn't done much for me. That's why I won't touch him.
I
And
traded for him last year. Um, as you're aware of, I had some hope because he was getting a lot of touches, but just not converting them into touchdowns. And I thought he would have some positive touchdown regression, and that should just bit me in the ass. He didn't score a touchdown, I believe. I think he scored one the whole year. Honestly, I like Miles Sanders. He's very good. Personally, I like their offensive line. So whoever's running behind it, I'm a fan of. My problem is nobody knows who's running behind it, right? So Sanders is the guy. They had Jordan Howard last year, which is what I kind of think Trey Sermon is going to be. So he's just going to be vulturing touchdown touches. Goal line work from Sanders most likely. Boston Scott is still a guy there, and then a guy that I've seen a lot of fantasy people in the space talk about Kenneth Gainwell. I'm really not that high on Kenneth Gainwell, honestly. But I see why there's upside because he's the only one that has a defined role, which would be the pass catching role. So I mean that has some value, but I don't think Hurts is passing to the running back. I think he's taking that shit himself
I agree.
personally. And I think the last person to talk about here is the rookie tight end from Denver is Greg Dulcich. He got placed on IR. So my question is, do you think that does anything for? I mean, as you guys can see the draft board here, nobody drafted him, but Albert O. Some people were very high on the athletic tight end from Denver last year after Noah Fant got traded to Seattle. Does that put him on your radar, or do you
Yeah,
just irrelevant?
yeah. I mean, Russ will spread the ball, so anyone that's on that offense I want. And but I don't really need him personally. Maybe you do because you didn't draft a tight end
Chill,
until round 15. So,
man. Relax, man. Relax.
and then
It
you
was it
you
was a
ended up
rough year
dropping
for
him
me.
too, so
Yeah, ended up dropping him. Absolutely. I mean, like you said, I mean, it puts Albert O on the radar for me as well. But I mean, Russell Wilson's never really shown a tendency to throw to his tight ends because people say he's a smaller quarterback, likes to throw to the outside the numbers, bombs. People like Cortland Sutton, Jerry Judy, KJ Hamler should be, in for better seasons.
yeah.
I don't think that does much for Alberto. Personally, for me, obviously I didn't even draft him, and I didn't have a tight end. I just took a flyer on some guy with upside. Basically, I think it's too many mouths to feed, and while I do like Russell Wilson, I am not as high on Russell Wilson as the rest of the league, like as the rest of everybody else is, honestly. So it's kind of my take on that.
That's fair.
Yeah, absolutely. So the next segment here is we're gonna do a nice little what we call the EFQ and the what do you do section is basically like we're gonna go team by team as you guys can see the draft board here, and we're just gonna go over what we thought was the EFQ, which is like the eye for quality, like the best pick that they had in their draft, and the worst pick that they had in their draft. So I'll start us off here. I actually have I'm gonna start us off here with El Carbo. He had the first pick in the draft. Solid team, as you guys can see there. I think the best pick that he made, if you go down to that 8-10, he took a young man by the name of Amon Ross St. Brown. Um, if you know who Amon-Ra St. Brown, you either know him last year because he almost won your league, or he made you lose your league because he was a killer down the stretch specifically. Became easily Jared Goff's favorite number one target. A lot of people, myself included, like to target year two wide receivers. And he fits all those categories, honestly. And my what do you do pick was, it's kind of hard, but honestly, I think taking Tua at the 6'10", um, I like the Dolphins offense. I personally do like Tua. I don't think he's horrible, as people say, but I think just a little bit too early, considering he's like in a tier of quarterback, and I don't think he sticks out above the rest of those quarterbacks in that tier. So I think he got taken a little bit early, but all in all, yeah. I'm like, what do you do? Like, why? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I agree with your EFQ. I like Amon Ra. I just think that his first three picks were the most balanced in the whole league: running back, receiver, and then the QB stack. I do disagree with you though with Tua. I think he's gonna step it up this season and prove a lot of haters wrong.
That's because you're in Miami, man. You get that little Dolphins bias coming in from all your ears, even though you're not a Dolphins fan. But
Yeah,
it affects your way of thinking
it
sometimes.
does. It does.
So how about you tell us about second man in the draft there, Mr. Blurry Clapper himself.
Blurry Clapper. You see, his EFQ is very special because he drafted Gibson at the 8-9, and he did not know that Gibson was not the lead back and was working special teams. And then about 10, 15
15?
minutes later,
Yeah.
we got the news of Brian Robinson getting shot. So,
Very
Blur
unfortunate for Brian Robinson.
yeah, yeah.
My
Thankfully,
God.
thankfully it wasn't a fatal wound. It was,
Absolutely.
he just got shot in the butt and in the leg, I believe. But
In the knee.
in the knee. So he'll be all right, but man, I don't think there's a better EFQ pick than a prediction of the future of what was going to happen.
You want to talk about eye for quality? He literally had like the third eye. If you guys have ever seen Game of Thrones, like the third eye, like the three eye raven, like he just saw the future, man. Like, he knew what was going to happen.
Yeah,
Kind of concerning. Kind of concerning for the rest of the team.
yeah. As for what he do, not drafting Jamar Chase at the 2-9. He went double QB for the second year in a row. Didn't learn his
Yep.
lesson. I really think he missed value there.
Personally, I agree. I agree. Obviously, he got two very good quarterbacks, but I mean, you say Jamar Chase. Honestly, I think he could have taken Chase, Gervonta, Diggs if he liked Diggs more because he has Allen, so he could have got the stack early and then just double dipped after. I don't know, man. Definitely didn't seem to learn his lesson. So I think for the my opinion, his EFQ was Cordarrelle Patterson. I think he took him in the 11th round. I don't think that's obviously he's going to have a little bit of a timeshare. He's not going to be the every down back, but he still has value in his touches. It wasn't like he was, Mike Davis still carried like 140 times last year for them. So, and he finished as running back nine. Patterson did last year. So I like that pick a lot. And for me, I just my what he do for him was personally his entire running back room. Honestly, like what was he? In my opinion, I didn't know what the hell he was doing. There's a lot of risk involved taking Etienne in the fifth as your first RB. Gibson, Mitchell, Pollard, like these guys do have upside. I don't want to get that twisted, but like if you're going into the season and Etienne's your first, the first running back you took, personally, I'm not as high on him as other people. So I think that can come back and bite him a little bit.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Obviously, as you can see, I definitely did not take that wait on running back approach in round 7, but everybody's different. What do you?
100%.
I know you hate talking good about your rival, but you're gonna have to give me the EFQ for
Right.
solidity.
So in my opinion, I actually really like this draft. Don't tell him I said that. But personally, I think his best pick was Mooney at the 9-3. I like finding picks with value, and I think a potential receiver too in the ninth round, maybe even some low end receiver one upside. Like, dude, who is Fields gonna throw to over there? Honestly, his target share should go up. He was good last year, had 1,000 yards. Um, I don't know if you saw RG3. He actually tried to sign a contract last year with the Bears. because he just wanted to mentor Justin Fields, and he tweeted out that he finally feels that obviously they had Nagy last year who was fucking trash, but he feels that the offense is finally getting catered to Justin Fields' strengths, and I think that's going to bode well for Mooney as well. So that's my EFQ for him. And I think the what he do pick was George Kittle, man. I hate talking bad about Kittle because he might be the best two-way tight end in the entire league. I just don't have a lot of confidence taking a pass catcher from that offense so high with Trey Lance under center. I like Trey Lance in fantasy, but I don't think Kittle's the guy you want to target in that offense. Waller went off a couple picks after, so I think if he wanted to go tight end, he should have gone there personally.
Yeah, I agree actually with both of your points. I just drafted Mooney last night in another redraft league, and I'm not crazy about the Bears, but Mooney's value because people don't want anything to do with it, like you have to take it at a certain point. Unless of course they're a Texan or a Buccaneer, then that's different. But
Reminds me a lot of I don't know if you remember Brandon Cooks last year. Getting absolutely like slammed in drafts, like nobody wanted him. But similar, bad offense. He's kind of like the only guy to throw to Mooney, and I think Cooks finished top 20 last year, so
yeah,
or around 20. So I mean, I think it's very similar situations, honestly. And
yeah,
I think if anything, Fields is a better or got drafted way higher than Mills did. So I don't
yeah,
see how you can go wrong with that
and
pick
and he
personally.
and he has both Cooks and Mooney. And as for Kittle, yeah, I'm not. He could have got a top tier receiver. There was still Pittman on AJ Brown on the board. Um, he
Keenan, Pittman,
yeah,
maybe.
Keenan, yeah, like he could have went a different direction, but we'll see how his wide receivers pan out.
Yeah. How about you go ahead and tell us about kept you in supreme there at the fourth pick in this draft?
Yeah, so it's got to be Ramondre Stevenson at the 11-4. I
Absolutely.
he shouldn't be drafted that late, in my opinion. I think he's gonna get a lot of work. I don't know what's going on with Damian Harris, but Ramondre's been the talk of the offseason, and they can both do it. They both did it last year. So we'll see what happens. If Harris gets traded, Ramondre is an immediate like
RB2, high
RB2.
end.
Yeah, high end
Yeah,
RB2. And as for the what he do or what she do in this scenario,
absolutely.
it would be same team, Mac Jones. I'm not crazy about Mac Jones or his receiving core. Jacoby Myers can't catch a touchdown to save his life, or can't score really. He's just afraid of the end zone. Um, there's just really no one to be excited about. I'm more excited about the Texans receiving core than I am about the Patriots receiving core, and that says a lot.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but I'm definitely not far behind you. I actually same. I agree with both those picks. I just think to me it's crazy how Damian Harris went off at the 9-1, and then Stevenson goes off at the 11-4. It's almost like 24 picks between. Like personally, I would take that value 100% of the time. Everything out of camp too is they have Matt Patricia now, and running their offense, which has been, according to reports, awful. It's been absolutely putrid so far. And James White retiring, they're saying Ramondre is taking the pass catching work. Ty Montgomery is a little bit banged up. I think he might have returned to practice today, but I definitely agree with those two selections that you have right there. Not a
Okay.
fan of Mac Jones.
Yeah.
Can't run, slow paced offense. I want nothing to do with him.
Yep. What do you think about Schladank?
Schledank, man. Hurts me to say, but I think his EFQ is Javonte Williams at the 3-5. So I don't know if you see right there on that board right there, guys. I picked right after him at the 3-6, and I was crossing my fingers to get Javonte on my team. Snipe me from Javonte. Um, dude, honestly, one of the best running backs in the entire NFL. Like, screw fantasy, like just talent. Like if you watch the guy run, he runs like Marshawn Lynch with extra speed, like young Bill's Marshawn Lynch. Like it's truly fascinating to watch. And he's in an offense now. I think he finished as like RB 18, 20 last year in PPR, and now you add Russell Wilson and an offense in a division that could score a lot of points, like 100% smashing Javonte Williams if he would have gone to me at the 3-6. And I think the what he do pick, I like most of his draft, but I think Mark Andrews at the 2 in the second round at the 2-6 is a little bit of an overpay. We are a tight end premium, and that is, shit, the Ravens. That's a premium tight end if I've ever seen just again, man, it might be a little too early for Mark, man. I love Mark Andrews, but he actually did better last year when Lamar wasn't in the lineup, just because Tyler Huntley doesn't know how to throw a deep ball. Love Tyler Huntley, not a bad quarterback, but he's not Lamar Jackson. So in that case, you would just dump it down to Andrews. Which, I mean, if you're an Andrews owner, it's what you want. But I don't think you should factor in that Tyler Huntley's going to play 6 to 8 games in your projections when you're drafting Andrew.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it's basically yeah. He did have a good draft though. I mean, that's the worst one that I could find because I mean I guess Robert Woods, but at that point when you're in round 12, I I can't say that's your worst pick. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, they're dart throws at that point. But
Exactly.
I agree completely. I was hoping Javante would
Okay.
actually fall to me. He was actually one of the only players I would have taken over Aaron Jones if he was still there. Um, Javante's something happens to Melvin Gordon. Javante's a locked in RB1, like top 6. It's
What's crazy is I think he's one of the few players who got drafted in the third round that can finish at the top of their position. One of the few running backs who got drafted third round or later that can finish as a true RB1.
yeah,
So
100%. 100%. And
that's
then
kind of my take.
Andrews, yeah, I agree the same. I'm not a tight end drafter like in the first 3 rounds, even though we're tight end premium, but I just there's just too much value on the board at that point that I wouldn't have gone that direction. But we'll see how it pans out.
100% agree. So tell me now, is your boy's team now, man? Don't go too crazy on me, man. It wasn't my best performance out there on this draft board, but go ahead, break it down.
Yeah, let me tell you, AJ Dillon is your EFQ, 100%, without a doubt. This guy is getting drafted in the 7th round. Now, obviously, we're super flex, so the rounds are kind of skewed.
Yeah,
They're skewed a little bit with QBs, but AJ Dillon, I think we're gonna see something similar to what we saw 2 years ago with Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. They're both
okay.
they're both gonna be extremely viable, and I think it's gonna be even better than that. We're gonna see the best running back duo that we have ever seen in the NFL this year.
That's a take right there. I
Yep.
mean, just to jump in there, because might as well. It's my team. I personally, if as you're looking at the board, I took Saquon early, kind of faded running back, and then I had a couple targets in mind. I think I got two out of those three targets that I wanted. Dylan was definitely at the top of that list. I mean, you said Hunt and Chubb a couple years ago. I think more of it as Kamara and Ingram back when Drew Brees was their quarterback. Because I mean, Chubb's never been a pass catcher, and while that's not Dylan's cup of tea, but he actually caught passes a lot better than just about everybody expected coming out of college. So again, I'm really high on Dylan. I wouldn't be shocked. I mean, foreshadowing your pick a little bit. I like that you picked Aaron Jones where you picked him. But if you can tell me you want Aaron Jones where you picked him or Dylan where I took him, I think I'll take the 4 round difference personally.
For sure. 100%. And then the what he do,
Oh man,
Justin Fields. I don't I mean, you might believe in him, but he burned me last year. I even put money on him
I remember.
that he would be better than Matt Ryan. Couldn't even do that. Couldn't even do
And
that.
Matt Ryan was bad last year.
Yeah. So maybe he does step it up. Maybe he does. I believe they got new coaching staff, right?
Yeah, new coaching staff, so that should help.
Yeah.
Honestly, again, I can't really defend myself, so Fields there. I think my biggest mess up in this draft was actually all the way up in the 1, 2, 3, 6 round where I took Hollywood Brown. And let me explain to you why. It was between him and Derek Carr. And I think Derek Carr was the last good quarterback in that tier. Would have been a nice stack too with Devontae. So if hindsight's 2020, if I was to go back, I'd probably take Carr instead of Hollywood, and then I wouldn't have to take Fields there. Could have taken another, running back, Hunt, Renfro even after, some kind of form like that, and then just gotten Jameis later or something like that. But definitely, I actually misclicked on Fields. I meant to hit Trevor Lawrence, and he ended up going 7 rounds after. But I didn't want Fields and Lawrence. I wanted one with upside, and then I really wanted Jameis in the later rounds because I really, really believe in that offense. So yeah, but can't hate you, man. I definitely agree with Justin Fields is my what do you do?
Yeah, and next we got me. Before you actually talk about my team, I'm gonna move us so that everybody can see the draft board for 8, 9, and 10. So it's gonna freeze you for a
Absolutely.
second.
That's fine. Go for it. So I'll start here. I think your best pick is all the way down in the ninth round. I think taking Chase Edmonds at the 9-7 is great value. At worst, you're getting a borderline flex play, and at best, you're getting a high end running back two, maybe even running back one, depending on his goal line work and his touches. So definitely, really like Chase Edmonds' pick. The new coach, they like to throw to the running back often. I believe he came from a Shanahan system. So just really like Chase Edmonds as my EFQ for you. And I think the what he do is, man, what are you doing at quarterback, man? Like you had a couple names, but then you just I feel like you panicked after Trey Lance went off the board. You were like, dude, what the fuck am I gonna? Pardon me. What am I gonna do? Uh, just it went downhill after there. I don't mind Matt Stafford where you took him. He's got obviously a little bit of risk, but Matt Ryan, like your upside's kind of shot, and then you're like, damn, let me just shoot for upside, and then you took Malik Willis, and I verbally told you I was like, dude, he's not even. I don't think he's even gonna play this year. And I mean Daniel Jones, like oh man, I think your quarterback room is just is it leans very heavy on Stafford. I don't think it's horrible, but I mean definitely the worst. I think in the whole league personally. Sorry to offend you.
No, it's I agree. I At the third pick where I took Jones, I could have easily took Russell Wilson, and my team would have definitely been a little bit more stable. But I think I panicked after the draft and I started looking into trades, trading one of my running backs for a QB.
Yeah,
And after more thought, I think my QBs will turn out just fine. I think Stafford, his elbow injury isn't really significant enough to hold him back. I think Matt Ryan is going to get me. I think Ryan is in one of the best situations that he's been in his career. He has one of the best running backs in the league. Great O line, great coaching, great defense, which will give him opportunities and Pittman to throw to.
he plays in
So
a weak division too, so that helps him too.
yeah. So as for Malik Willis, yeah, that's a complete dart throw. If he turns out, then I'm gonna be sitting pretty. In the
Hundred
event
percent.
in the event Tannehill something happens to Tannehill. Daniel Jones though, I feel like he he's undervalued. I feel like he's going to be way better than he was last year because of the coaching change. Um, but we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, definitely don't mind Daniel Jones at all. To be honest, I don't think he was again. He's your last pick there. Like
Yeah.
take a chance, especially at quarterback. He's got rushing upside, so that always helps. Um, yeah, it's practically about it. So yeah, not the worst situation that you were in there. How do you feel about Tony's team?
Tony.
Tony,
Let me tell you, when I took Stafford, I was really considering Sutton. And then getting either Stafford, Cousins, or Carr, whichever one fell to me. Obviously, I went Stafford, and then Sutton went right after. EFQ for Tony is Sutton, 100%. Sutton is a receiver that I believe has wide receiver one potential. He
absolutely.
can finish in the top 8.
I was gonna say
Um,
6, so
yeah,
I'm higher than you. Yeah,
yeah. So we'll see what happens, but the what he do is just like he had a great first couple picks with Henry, Kamara, Hill. I don't know about that Brady pick.
me neither. But
Um, but the what he do is just his lack of wide receiver depth. He only has 4 wide receivers.
we start 3, by the way, so and a flex, so you could technically start 4.
So he's in trouble. He needs to make some moves, at least get at least one more wide receiver. But yeah, that and the Brady pick. I don't know about the Brady pick. I would have took Prescott. I would have took Lance. I would have took Stafford. But then again, I'm biased, so
Nah, it's understandable. I fir- first of all, I think his best pick is Kamara. I don't care it was in the 2-3 in the Superflex. Um, I actually told you this before we started recording. I got Kamara as running back 1 on the season. I think he's closer to running back 1 than he is to running back wherever he got drafted, 7-8. I think him and CMC are 1A, 1B, and Jonathan Taylor 1C. I think those are the top 3 guys. But honestly, if I was picking, you know, second, I would have probably would have taken McCaffrey. I took Lamar obviously here, but I actually, looking back, I told Kevin on the way home at Blurry Clapper, I would have much rather taken Kamara where I took Lamar and just taken Jalen Hurts on the turn. I think my team would have looked just pretty much the same.
yeah,
But
yeah, that
I
makes.
definitely agree though. He's got 4 receivers, and I mean I'm not gonna be nitpicky here. I do I love Sutton, uh, love Tyreek. Obviously MT, you know what MT is. Devontae Smith, great rookie year. Um, 2 out of those guys have been very injury prone recently. Sutton missed a whole year, second year back, so he should. But MT hasn't played in like 3 years. Love Michael Thomas, but and Devontae Smith is about 175 pounds, so not really a size that holds up in the NFL. So I'm definitely a little bit iffy. Tony, if you're listening to this, my guy, I know you see Jalen Waddle on my team. I know you see Mike Evans for your Tom Brady stack. I would love to make a deal for Kamara. So go ahead and slide your boy a DM.
What do you think about Gators EFQ?
So Gators EFQ, it's going to be very far down this list. Kadarius Toney. I don't know if you saw they were roasting Kenny Galladay the other day because they said he was walking with the stiffness of a mannequin. Basically means he's shot. He is bad. He was bad last year. He was inefficient for the Lions when he was there. He just had a lot of volume. He was the only guy there. But I don't think post injury he's the same player. I love Tony, PPR floor through the roof. Just one of the best. He's basically, I mean, when he was coming out the draft, I actually comped him to Debo. I think he is baby Debo, bro. Like, get this man the ball, and he's making 2 people miss. He's getting you at least 8 yards every time. 8, 10, 15. He can break it off for, 50, 40, whatever it takes. I think he's that guy. I think he is a little bit made of glass, but loved Tony. Just personally love Kadarius Tony where he took him. And for me, his what he do is his whole running back situation, honestly, but specifically Cam Akers. Taking Akers where he took Akers and Henderson went that much after him, I don't think it should be that much of a big discrepancy. But just Fournette being your RB1, I like Uncle Lenny, but like you had said that offense, and I do believe there you're right on certain things. You should be a little bit concerned about Tampa Bay specifically. They're a little bit everybody's a little bit older, so that should be taken into consideration. I wouldn't mind Fournette as my running back too, but definitely, as my lead RB, it's a little bit more intimidating. So that's kind of my what he do is just really the running back situation kind of as a whole, but took some decent guys later on, James Cook, James Robinson, I guess Clyde, not a fan of him, but it is what it is what he took him.
Yeah, my EFQ is actually T Higgins. I think T Higgins is another undervalued wide receiver. I see him outscoring Waddle, Keenan, Debo. I don't know about anyone else, but those are some players that.
So you can see him finish perhaps wide receiver 1,
Yeah,
top 10-ish,
yeah, top 10-ish.
12-ish.
Yeah, 10, 11. Um,
Interesting.
yeah, T Higgins, like, although he wasn't consistent last year, I think we're gonna see more consistency this year. Um, I think a lot of teams will focus Chase just because he is the star, but Higgins demands respect too. And we'll see if defenses do give him the respect, but you know, who's gonna draw the number one cornerback?
Jamar,
It's Jamar. So, we'll see.
absolutely.
As for what
Who
he do, yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say a little side note on the what he do. I don't know if you were gonna get to that, but Deshaun Watson, man. Come
Uh,
on, bro. What you doing? Get, get, what you doing, Gator? What you doing, man? Not
hey, it's
continue, man. I apologize.
you're good. You're good. It's funny because his what he do has nothing to do with the picks. It does have to do with the picks, but it more has to do with preparation. He told me he did not prepare for a super flex mock draft.
Oof.
And you can really tell by the first 3 picks. He picked 2 QBs and a tight end, which is
Yeah.
it you know, the first 2 picks, I don't really have a problem with. We're in tight end premium, but getting a third QB in the 3rd round instead of
Anything, honestly.
anything, a wide receiver, running back, like I would hate to be in his position. In a league where we don't really see too many competent running backs that are for sure like have a safe floor, and you have Fournette as your RB1, which has a O line that is very weak right now. And Akers, I don't draft players that have injury history. I rarely do, and that's your RB2. You have to start 2 running backs. So
Talk
that's
about talk about injury history. Then he also take James Robinson all the way back there, and he tore his Achilles after Cam Akers.
yeah.
He's supposed to play week 1, but how much? Yeah, like you said, how much can you trust these people to hold up? How much
And
can you trust
Julio.
him?
Julio
Yeah,
too.
he should name his team. I don't even know, man. Kendall Baptist Hospital or something.
Leon Medical Center.
Leon Medical Center, bro. There it is.
But yeah,
Absolutely. So bring us home here. Shout out the only person who, because this is an in-person draft, the only person who can't make it is, shout out Big Flex. Um, he doesn't live down here in Miami. He lives over there in Alabama. Roll Tide, as he would say. What do you think his EFQ and his what he do picks are?
his EFQ is 100% Christian Kirk. Christian Kirk is the wide receiver 1 in a offense that has a new coaching staff. Um, Trevor Lawrence had a terrible first year, but he is gonna have a way better. There's so much room for improvement that like you can't do worse than you did last year.
Because his head coach was Bourbon Meyer. You say that?
Yeah. So Christian Kirk is gonna see we've already seen what he can do in Arizona as a wide receiver too. So we're gonna see him really. I have actually a live prop for week 1. I need him to get over 50 and a half receiving yards. So
Very doable.
so
Very doable.
I'm counting on him against Washington. Which
I don't know
is
if you saw in the preseason too. He had like a massive target share when he played with the Wentz. It was upwards of I think 33% or something, like 38, maybe 36. Don't quote me on that. It was massive though. Like Trevor Lawrence is basically dropping back, and where's Christian at throwing the ball? And he's talented, man. There's slightly overpaid, but dude can play ball. I absolutely agree with that pick.
yeah. As for what he do, Miles Sanders at the 10-1.
Baby.
As I said earlier, I'm just not touching that running backfield, and if anything, Sanders, he might not even be the RB1 there, you know? So we'll see how it pans out, but man, you have Najee as your RB1, that's good. Zeke, it's not bad,
Solid.
but
Not mad where he took him either.
but as for
Not
running back depth, we're not looking at
Shush.
any running back depth. He has the same problem as Tony except running backs. So maybe you guys can talk to each other, you got some receivers, you got
Maybe you're
some running
onto something.
backs, you know?
We've definitely talked already. A nice little tidbit of information for the league here. I don't know if you guys can audibly remember when in that 5th round, as I'm making my pick and I take Jalen Waddle, he very audibly said, F you, Lewis, in the middle of the chat, in the middle of the draft. He really likes Jalen Waddle, Bama guy and a Dolphins fan. So, twice the flavor right there with that one. We've definitely had some discussions. I don't know if you see his 3rd pick up there, but that's the guy that I wanted. So we'll see prior to week 1. He wants a little bit too much for Pitts, but Actually, my counter was for Pitts and Sanders before this ordeal came out with the Trey Sermon and stuff, just because, like I said, if you can guarantee me Miles Sanders is going to get 15, 12, 15 touches in that offense, he's going to be decent, man. Like they're a good offense and they're a great running offense. So I know you're not a fan of him. Also, the risk is he fumbles once, he's done. He's done if he fumbles, honestly. So I get the risk, but Flex, pitch a boy back up, man. We could discuss something. Your running back room kind of dry, but leave my Damian Pierce. Leave him at home with your boy, please. So I mean, that basically wraps it up, right, for the EFQ what he do section.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, that's about everything right there. So now we're just gonna go into the. You want to break down? Actually, yeah, go ahead. Break down the trade that occurred not too long ago in the league. We have I believe we have differing opinions on this, so this should be interesting.
Yeah, so Solidity or Solid traded Daryl Henderson and Chris Godwin to Gator for T. Higgins and Deshaun Watson. And I personally believe that Gator got taken advantage of. Um, Gator has a weakness for Godwin. He likes that player. He also has a weakness in his running back room. And what do you know? Solid had Daryl Henderson, Cam Akers his backup. So he traded both of those players away to get T. Higgins, who, like I said earlier, I'm very high on. And, that's a fleece if I've ever seen one.
You see, I'm actually on the other side of the totem pole here because shout out T Higgins, love T Higgins. Um, I don't think he's as primed to be as good as people think he's going to be. Personally, I think last year he finished as wide receiver 22, 21 or something, 23, somewhere around that range. I think it's very possible he finishes as wide receiver 16. I think his ceiling is probably wide receiver 10, and that's if all goes well, like Jamar Chase injury or something like that. Um, just not really sold on T. Higgins being a wide receiver one. I think if Godwin comes back week one, week two, is probably he's going to be finishing around wide receiver 20 something, 23, 24, 25, somewhere around that range. So I don't think it's a big drop off. And he basically guarantees himself a running back in the Rams offense. Um, Daryl Henderson and Cam Akers might be difficult to know which one you're going to start the year, but I think it's going to work itself out by like week four and he's going to have a solid RB2 and a solid wide receiver 3 or wide receiver 2, maybe a guy in his flex. And getting T. Higgins, but letting go of some of that RB depth that he had. Basically, what I'm trying to say is I don't think Solid improved his ceiling on his team. I think Henderson and Godwin would have gave him a higher ceiling than just T. Higgins. But
That's fair.
it's my little take right there.
That's fair. That's
And I
fair.
think there was one more move we wanted to talk about because your boy did it. So I actually picked up Gerald Everett. I mean, if you saw my tight ends, it was Austin Hooper. Because at the end of the draft, everybody made it a point to just draft tight ends because they saw I didn't have them. So I was out there getting sniped like it was Warzone, and I was playing against FaZe or something. I don't know, getting dogged out there. So I ended up taking Austin Hooper. Didn't really have target competition over there in Tennessee, but I started doing some research, started crunching some numbers, and I came across obviously Gerald Everett is now on the Chargers. Last year they were the team that with the third most pass attempts in the league at like 39, and Everett played for the Seahawks, which was the worst team in pass attempts at 29. So last year the Chargers tight end was Jared Cook, and he had a 12% target share, which was very nearly identical to what Everett had. So I think if you just extrapolate, just adding the pass attempts, and Everett gets the same volume that he did, averaging around the same yards per catch and yards per target that he did in Seattle. Um, it would extrapolate his numbers out to like tight end somewhere between tight end 7 if you count if he played 17 games to tight end 12 if he played only the 15 games he played last year. So I will take my chances on a tight end on a good offense. Y'all saw what Dalton Schultz did last year. Uh, and actually, Everett was one of the best tight ends at forcing missed tackles. He forced 11 on 48 catches, which is very, very elite numbers right there. So, shit, I think if you're a tight end and you have a good quarterback and a good offense, bro, I'll take my chances. So that's kind of what I did with that one.
As you can see, everyone, this is Lewis's baby. This whole thing. You see the amount of analysis this man goes through? I'm just like the seasoning, but this man's the main course. So
I don't know
I
about that, man.
I just wanted to say that.
Uh,
I'm just a tech guy.
He's just the tech guy. No, man. Shout out to the tech guy though. According to him, this has been beautiful. Everything he's been putting up there. And right now, what we have up there are just the Fantasy Pros power rankings for the entire season. Should be interesting. Take us away there with the first team. I'm not talking about him good twice in a row.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I love Solid's team. Um, he definitely deserves to be up there. Will he end up being there? That's the thing about fantasy. So many things can happen. And I'm not even talking about injuries. I'm just talking about matchups. Sometimes your players have bad weeks and your opponent has good weeks. Um, I'm known to get the least PA every year. Just blessed with a great schedule. People don't score that many points on me for some reason, you know? I don't know if it's intimidation. Um,
Oh man.
I don't know if it's the rings on my hand. I'm looking like Tom Brady out here, but you know, matchups you can't really predict that. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see if he actually ends up number 1. To get an be top 2, you get a bye week. So that is very valuable. As for last place, I'll let you talk about him.
It's Tony. Shout out Tony. We talked about how we liked his draft. Talked about how much I like Kamara going in the second round. But honestly, you even talked about his receivers. He's got good receivers. He just doesn't have a lot of them. So I think that's his biggest downside. I also think his quarterback room is not horrible. Just lacks a little bit of upside. Definitely, the biggest problem is his receiver and his running backs behind Henry and Kamara. Singletary, Rashad White, Brian Robinson, who unfortunately got shot. He actually got put on IR, so he's going to be missing 4 weeks. Kenneth, like it's guys who have a chance to make it, but I don't think he's got a bad team. I mean, it's a pretty big discrepancy, honestly, from him and the people right above him. But definitely don't think it's bad at all.
Yeah.
How about you go tell the people where I'm at up there, man? Go tell them where I'm at, man.
Oh, you're at number 5. I was looking for you. The quad squad. The
The
quad
quad
squad.
squad.
Yeah, so they got you right in the middle of the pack. Um, I
Like I said,
mean,
man, I'm average out here.
89. That's a high B, low A. We take that. But grades aren't. You cannot let these grades really dictate your
It,
team too
yeah,
much.
definitely it's fun to look at 100%. I don't think I have the best team, so I'm not even going to go there. But
Yeah.
um, definitely, what's funny is before today, because I look at this quite often, I was actually ranked 10th. So I don't know when they decided, you know what, let's bump the man up to 5. I think they finally came around to the analysis that I came around because I could see things that they couldn't see. And they were like, this guy's right. This team's not the worst team. I was like, thank you. Um, I mean, you right there. I see you over there at number 2, man. How do you feel about that? Do you think that's fair, or do you think
Yeah.
you should be number 1?
No, no. I do believe what keeps me from being 1 is my lack of QB strength. What is putting me at number 2 is my running back strength. I have the best
Absolutely.
I have the best flex in the league with Aaron Jones, which is usually a locked in person in the running back position, but he's in my flex. So having that gives me an edge in the running back position over anyone else, which I had to pay a lot my first 3 picks. But we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We'll see, man. I think that all about wraps up the entire episode. Unless you have anything to add on to that right there.
No, that's about it. Just the preview for next week.
Yeah, so next week we're gonna go ahead and be dropping an episode sometime before the Thursday night game. Kind of doing like a little preview of week 1 matchups in our league and just in general, so you guys can take some analysis away from that. Stay tuned, man. We should be in for a fun season, honestly. That's our first episode. Tell us what we did wrong, what we did right. Hopefully we did more things right than wrong, but criticism always helps, makes us better. Shout out to the tech guy for being, techie and stuff. I was just here trying to provide smart analysis. Hopefully I did some of that. It's your boy Lewis, man. Boy Joseph. Thank you guys. Salute.
Later.
I think that was pretty fire.